Hello and a warm welcome to Pattern Construction course. I hope the course will be beneficial and add value to your skills knowledge of fashion design. The general objectives for this course will be, by the end of this module unit, the trainee should apply the acquired knowledge in selection, use and care of tools, equipment and materials used in pattern construction, produce basic blocks for a given garment, apply the acquired knowledge and skills to develop various patterns correctly, appreciate the emerging trends and issues in pattern construction, produce patterns using different methods, apply body measurements in developing garment styles. We move to our topic 1, which is Introduction to Pattern Construction. By the end of the sub-module unit, the trainee should be able to A. Define terms used in pattern construction. B. Explain principles of pattern construction. Let's move to definition of terms. This will be key and essential to help you maneuver along the course. Pattern drafting. It is an engineered method by which the designer or pattern maker uses a set of body measurements to develop patterns. The key word here is a set of body measurements. Minus a key set of body measurements, you are not able to develop patterns. Sloper. This is the outline shape of a block that is mounted on a hard paper or firm cardboard, i.e. quarter scale, half scale, etc. Square across. From a point, draw a line horizontally. Square down. From a point, draw a line vertically down. Square up. From a point, draw a line vertically up. These three terminologies are essential when you're doing your practical work on pattern drafting. Mirror the pattern. This is the copying or reflecting the pattern to obtain the reverse of the initial pattern. Continuation definition of terms. Truing. This is the blending and straightening of pencil lines for the purpose of establishing correct seam length. This will be helpful in the cut and spread at manipulation of your designs. Blending. This is the process of smoothing, shaping, and rounding angular along a seam for a smooth transition from one point to the next, e.g. a trouser, especially along the hip line towards the knee length. Pattern grain line. This is a line drawn down on each pattern piece to indicate how the pattern should align with the lengthwise grain of the fabric. It helps to know whether the pattern will be cut on straight grain, cross grain, or on bias. Ease. This is the amount of room a garment allows the wearer beyond the measurement of their body. Ease can be done by an individual, or sometimes the pattern drafting books provide ease allowances for different parts of the body measurements. Seam allowance. This is the distance between the cutting line and the stitching line. Pattern instructions. This is a set of information that enables a garment to be cut and constructed correctly. We move to pattern production terms. These terms are very essential to help you when you're doing your manipulations and even trying to get patterns. Pattern number 1 is the block pattern, and this is a foundation pattern constructed to fit an average figure and used as a basis for all adaptations. Remember to choose the correct block for the design so as to save on time during adaptation and also not to affect the shape of the design. Number 2, we have the working pattern. It is used for marking out basic style lines and design features, i.e. pockets. Here is where all the design alterations are usually done. We move to the points to consider before commencing any adaptation. Choose the correct block. That will depend whether it is close-fitting or easy-fitting. Decide the length of the block. You can make this decision by either lengthening the block or shortening the block. Lastly, decide if more ease is required in the armhole. Number 3, we have the final pattern. This is the pattern from which the garment will be cut. It must be clearly marked with all the information required for making up the garment. As the name suggests, this is the pattern that is usually placed on the fabric and cut to allow the garment to be constructed. We move to points to consider in achieving good lines and curves. Good lines and curves are essential in pattern drafting as they enable us to come up with the correct designs without altering the shape of the design. Number 1, when a curved line meets a straight line, it must run smoothly, i.e. the hip line and the side seam of the flare. In this diagram illustrated, we have the back skirt and we can see the hip line and the side seam of the flare. As you look keenly at the point at which they are intersecting, the lines are coming in or are running into each other smoothly. Point number 2, the neckline, this part, and the armhole, this part, must always have nice curves and be perfect. Number 3, pattern pieces that are cut and spread need a smooth, even line. This is my back borders, and I have shown you the shaded areas show the cutting and spreading of the pattern. At the upper part, you realize that the pieces are not even, and therefore there is need of smoothing this by drawing a nice smooth curve. Number 4, shape the base of the dart downwards on the seam to compensate the V shape it creates when stitched. Now, the first figure above shows the back borders where the dart has been stitched, and because of that stitching, at the base of it you can see there is a V shape down here. Now, to compensate for this, when you look at this figure, the lower part of the back borders, the lower figure, you realize that there is the dotted line indicating the initial dart, the initial seam line, and there is the continuous line which indicates now what I'm catering for, the shaping that is taking place when the dart is being stitched. Number 5, for close-fitting bodice block, shorten the bust dart and waist dart by 2 centimeters. This is my front bodice, and this one is what we refer to as the bust dart, and this one is what we refer to as the waist dart. As you look keenly, the red darts are slightly shorter than the black darts, indicating that they have been shortened by 2 centimeters. Number 6, to achieve a fitted shape, you have to curve the side seam 0.5 centimeters slightly inside. This is my side seam, and I have slightly curved inwards 0.5, and that's why I'm pointing at 6. Number 7, bust and waist darts 0.3 centimeters slightly outwards. So I'm giving an example of the waist dart here, and you can see at number 7 I have slightly gone outwards 0.3 centimeters and used the red line to show the illustration. For number 8, to achieve a fitted sleeve, we can also curve the side seams 0.5 centimeters slightly inwards, and there's an illustration here. This is the side seam together with this one, so I have slightly gone in 0.5 centimeters, the same here 0.5 centimeters, and drawn the curve. We move to principles of pattern construction. These principles are essential so that you understand when you are manipulating the figure. These are some of the things that you will always have to abide with. Seam line, regardless of how the pattern pieces are cut, i.e. vertically, curved, etc. When these sections seams are made, the basic shape should remain the same. Dart shaping can be moved to seam lines so that shaping remains but the dart disappears. Shape, blocks can be shaped or not to give garments with a close fit to the figure, be semi-fitting or easy fitting. Pattern shape changes include widening the outline, inserting extra body ease, hidden shape by adding pleats and godets, puffs and bell shapes, adding width to the design by tucks and gathers, cone shapes by widening the hemline only. Principles of pattern construction continuation. Adding pieces. When adding pockets, peplums, panels, etc., consider carefully the balance of the design so that they are neither small or they are oversized. Next, body movement. When working designs, always be aware that body must be able to move. And lastly but not least, beautiful shapes. When cutting intricate patterns, small amounts of basic block may be lost or small parts added. How much one can do this depends on one's skills and experience. We have finally come to the end of our topic 1, and I hope that you are now in a position to define terms used in pattern construction, the principles of pattern construction, and also to how to achieve good lines and curves. Thank you.